Let's see if this works to cut the very well familiar with the expression, freedom is not free. And we certainly know how true it is. And nobody knows how true that is more than Christians. Our freedom from condemnation, from sin, from Satan's power, was won for us at a very heavy price, the price of Christ and his blood on the cross. And so for us to be free, someone had to suffer terribly for us out of love. And his, of course, death on the cross brought us our eternal salvation, our eternal freedom. But sometimes, even as we struggle here on the earth, there are people who are deprived of their freedom while here in this world. And sometimes we have had to rise to the occasion and be willing to sacrifice so that people would have their freedom restored to them. And today, on Memorial Day, that's exactly whom we remember. Those who were willing to give their lives so that other people's freedom would be preserved or would be restored to them. And so it's a beautiful day that we have, remembering the sacrifice that they were willing to make. And it's something that I think a message our world needs very much today, because our world has gotten very much into a sense of entitlement. People go around too much with the idea of what's in it for me. I'll join a group, I'll do something if I get something back out of it. We see it clearly in the church. How many people who say they don't go to church because they don't get anything out of it? Or what has the church ever done to me, for me? And so many people just have this feeling of expectation, of that everybody's got to meet my needs. And if I have a desire, well, it has to be declared a civil right, and somebody else has to give me what I'm looking for. And the whole idea of service, of giving yourself to a cause greater than yourself, to sacrifice of yourself for other people, is lost on many people in the world today. And our job as Christians, of course, is to try to remind people that we are called to serve others. And we are bringing a gospel of Jesus, of self-service, into a world that's looking for us to be served by others. And so it's a completely contradictory message, a message that tells people, no, don't look to your own desires, look to the needs of others, and be willing to sacrifice if you have to, even until the point of death. And of course, on Memorial Day, we remember those who did that over the many years that we as a nation have been here. And please don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say for a moment that I would hope we'd have another war or anything like that, of course not. But one thing that does happen in wartime is that people start to realize there's something more than just my own needs, and the need to be part of something greater, to fight and sacrifice for the cause that is before us. And so people in that time learn that the world is greater than their own needs, and to sacrifice for that greater need they're willing to do in those times. That's why I've always been so impressed by the greatest generation who are dying off very much. They're much older now, those of you who are still left from the World War II days. You knew what it was like to go without things. Everything from blackouts at night to covering the lights to not having even chocolate bars and nylons and all the things that we always hear about that people had to live without for the sake of the war effort. Well, you knew what it was to sacrifice. And everyone who has given their lives in defense of our country or the defense of freedom of people in other parts of the world have understood that and were willing to give themselves so that other people's freedoms would be protected. And Jesus says, of course, greater love hath no man than that he lay down his life for a friend. But many of the people whom we remember today on Memorial Day gave their lives in defense of total strangers, people they never met and never would meet, but they were willing to do that. And so today, as after this we go and celebrate and have our barbecues and all the wonderful things we do, it's good that we're taking this moment this morning to pause and remember why we have this day, to remember those who paid the ultimate price so that we could have our freedom. Because freedom indeed is not free, but it comes at a great price, and it comes at the price of the blood of many people, of those who have given their lives for their country, and ultimately at the price of the blood of Christ, who gave his life so that we might live forever. May Jesus Christ be praised, now and forever. Please stand.